Hey, what's up YouTube? Pirate King Codex here. I just wanted to go over my version of the Green Kid deck for the deck limited battles. Unfortunately, I didn't get into any of them, but the first one is going to be coming up on Sunday. I figured if people still needed some ideas on how to build the deck, I'd make a video on it just in case. So let's get started with Use's Kid. So he has an ability during his main phase. Once per turn, you may pay 3 Don to trash 1 card from your hand and set this later as active. This is going to be one of your main ways of closing out the games. Towards the end of the game, you can stack up as much Don as possible, leave 3 open, and you can attack twice for 2 large attacks. Your opponent won't be able to get rid of your leader, so this is a safe way to close out those games and get a large attack in. So sometimes this will catch your opponent off guard. You can use it throughout the game as well, but I find it most effective to close out games at the end. Of course, we have 4 copies of Capone Gang Bej. He's just a 1-drop blocker. He's going to be basically a staple. You want to make sure that you have 4 copies. It's always good to have a blocker. All it takes is 1 blocker to stop an attack. So, it doesn't matter if he's only 1,000 power, he does the job. And another staple of this deck is Jewelry Bonnie. So during the main phase, you may rest 1 Don to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal 1 Supernova type card and add it to your hand. You place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So this is going to be one of the advantages Green has over the other decks. So she can search for your key cards. So you can grab your Captain Kidd, you can grab your Hawkins, you can grab Law, so you can grab your Drake. So you can basically grab most of the characters in the deck that you're going to need. So this will help you be more consistent with what you draw. You can also use this effect the same turn that you play her down, so you don't have to worry about her having the inability to attack on the first turn. You can still use the ability, so this is a good turn 1 play if you go second. You have 2 Dons, so you can still get the ability off, so this is a good way to start the game. This is a card that you'll probably be looking for in your opening hand if possible, so this is definitely a card that you want to see. Next up we have 4 copies of Arouge. He's just kind of there because there's not really better options right now. He's okay. I just haven't really found me playing him too much. He's good in a pinch, but if your board is getting wiped out, he's not really going to be doing too much. But if you are able to build a presence on your board, he's a little bit more of a win more card. But he's still not going to be one of those key cards, but he's good to have just in case, and he's better than other options. He's also a Supernova, so you could grab him off of Bonnie. He also has a 1k counter, which is just good to have in general. But other than that, I'm not too impressed with the Rouge, but you may have different experiences with him. You want 4 copies of Scratchman and Pooh. This is a must. He's the only 2k counter that you have available right now. So that's basically what he's going to be used for. There's not really a reason to play him down. You're going to want to save him for a counter, so you would want to hold on to him in your hand. We have 4 copies of Killer. This is a good card to have as well, especially with the starter deck meta. There's going to be a good amount of targets with this card. There's a good amount of 3 or less cost characters. He also has a trigger, so if he's in your life, you can play him down, so you can get a body on the board, and then you can activate the effect. And if they have any tapped characters, he's good to have just in case. But he also has a 1k counter, so that's always good as well. I'm running the Promo Kid. This one's only a 3 of. I could even see going to a 2 of. The double attack is good, but it's more to bait your opponent to block him, so another attack can go through. Most likely his attacks aren't going to go through. Your opponent will either use a blocker or commit their counter. So a lot of times the double attack doesn't actually end up being a factor. The other thing is with the double attack, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Your opponent can get 2 life cards, so that may actually end up benefiting them by putting the cards in their hand that they may need, so this could actually backfire on you as well. So in theory, the double attack is good, but I feel like in actuality, it could actually come back to bite you a little bit too. So yeah, you want to be careful with playing this card. But other than that, he's good to have. Right now there aren't really too many better options, so I only have him as a 3 of. Again, he has 1k counter, so worst case scenario you can just play him as a counter. But he also works with Bonnie, and you might be able to use him in the right situation. He could be good. We have 4 copies of Diaz Drake. This is actually my favorite card in the deck. He gives a lot of power to your other characters. With 1 Dawn attached on your turn, if this character is rested, your supernovas and Navy type leaders and characters gain plus 1,000 power. So he does boost himself if he has attacked, or if he's rested for some other reason. He does get the benefit as well. So with the 1 Dawn attached, he's going to be attacking for 7,000 most of the time. So you'll want to most likely open with this as your attacker. Your leader will get plus 1,000 power, and you have a lot of other targets in here. This is actually the reason why I run 2 copies of Kobe. Otherwise, I wouldn't find Kobe too effective, but he is a Navy type character, so he does get the benefit from this as well. There's a reason I'm not playing Vito, is he's not going to be having any kind of synergy in the deck. So I've never found a use to play Vito. For a vanilla card, he's not going to be too useful here. So that's why I run 2 copies of Kobe. Kobe has at least 6,000 base attack, and he has synergy with the Drake. So that's why I run 2 Kobe's over Vito. But yeah, this card has a lot of other characters in the deck that this can help out. So this is a card that you want to see, and I feel he's a good turn 2 play. If you go second, you'll have 4 Dawn. So you can use that to play him pretty early, and you can start putting pressure on your opponent. I run 4 copies of Law. So on play, you can set one of your rested characters with Supernova or Heart Pirate straight with a cost of 5 or less to active. So that's going to be most of the characters in the deck. So he has a lot of targets. His best target is going to be the Hawkins, which I'll get to in a moment. But Law has 6,000 attack, so he has a solid attack himself. But he has a lot of synergy with the Hawkins. So with the Hawkins, if he has 1 Dawn attached once per turn, on your turn, if this character battles your opponent's character, set this card to active. So Hawkins puts a lot of pressure on your opponent because he can get 2 attacks off himself alone. May be able to help clear out some of your opponent's characters, or it can help you get that extra attack in so you can deal life to your opponent. So when your opponent blocks, he'll be able to untap, so then you can attack again. You can choose to go for the life, or if they have any other rested characters, you can try to attack, but again, keep in mind that you can only untap him once per turn using this ability, but you can untap him again using Law, so you could get a total of 3 attacks with the Hawkins. But that is going to be an extra 5 Dawn commitment to play the Law on that turn, so you'll likely have to play the Hawkins first, and then the Law will be the following turn. But that 5 Dawn is still a lot to commit to. So you have to keep in mind if it may be more effective to use it to Kid for his ability, or if it's more effective to have the Hawkins do a 3rd attack. So depending on the situation, that's something to consider. But in most cases, Hawkins is going to be your target with the Law ability. It's also important to note that he does get the plus 1,000 power from Drake. So he also has synergy with him as well. And I also run Blocker 7 cost Kid as a 4 of. This is also one of the best cards in the deck. So he is a big body blocker. So he also has an effect with Dawn times 1 attached. At the end of your turn, switches character to active. So you have to choose whether or not to attack with him. He is going to be one of your highest attackers in the deck, but you'll be able to attack and then untap him in order to block the following turn. So you get the best of both worlds with this character. He also gets a plus 1,000 from the Drake. So again, you're seeing a lot of synergy with the other cards in the deck with that Drake. so you can get some value out of those two characters together. And now for Scalpel. Scalpel is probably one of the worst cards in the entire game, but I think in this format it's necessary to play this card in order to compensate for the lack of 2k counters that you have. When Romance Dawn comes out, we'll have a few other options with Izo and Beppo, so you'll be running those cards over this card. In constructed format, you'll never have a reason to play this card. In the deck limited battles, this is going to be a lot more effective to make up for the lack of 2k counter character cards. So with this card, as a counter, your leader or one of your characters gains plus 2000 power during this battle, then set one Dawn as active. So you can play this card. It's going to require you to leave one Dawn open, which isn't a lot to commit to, which is why it can be effective. But then when you use it, you could also play another one off of it, so you can chain them. So this is where it comes in handy. You can also use it in conjunction with the Repel, which has a similar ability. So you can get more value out of these event cards because you can untap the Dawn, so you don't have to leave quite as many open in order to get their full use, or you can chain them with each other. So next up we have Repel. This is a counter as well. Your leader or one of your characters gains plus 4000 power during this battle, then set one of your Dawn cards as active. So similar to Scalpel, you don't need to have quite as many Dawn open if you want to chain them, but you do need to have a minimum of 2 Dawn if you want to play Repel. So with Repel, you could do something like keep 3 Dawn open, then you can play 1 Repel, then you would tap 2, and then you can untap another one, so then you can play a second Repel for only 3 Dawn. So you're essentially saving a Dawn there, so you can get a total of plus 8,000 for 3 Dawn. Again, you have to commit to leaving the Dawn open, but in this format, I do think it's necessary to have these counter cards to make up for the lack of other cards. Lastly, I have 3 copies of Straw Sword. So this card is very good in certain situations, but it's not always going to be useful. But when it is, it's really effective. So during your main phase, you rest one of your opponent's characters. It's important to note that it says main phase. This is not a counter card, so you can only play it on your turn. But you can use it in conjunction with cards like Killer to rest one of your opponent's characters or a blocker, and then you could use the Killer to KO them. Or with Hawkins, you can have your opponent's characters get tapped down so you can target them. So Hawkins will really combo with this card really well. Or in general, you can just tap down characters to attack them. So any high value targets on your opponent's side, you can use this to get them off the board. So that's going to wrap up my version of the Green Kid deck for the deck limited battles. Let me know what you think. Would you make any changes to the list? Do you think the event cards are worth running? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Otherwise, be sure to bring along all of your hopes and dreams, and I'll see you in the next video.